Hello, and thank you for clicking on this video. So I wanted to ask you, do you live in fear? You may not think you do, you may not feel like you do, but you may be living in fear and not know it. So I challenge you to ask yourself and be honest with yourself. Ask yourself the same question at the end of the video. So God tells us to fear not, for he is with us. But do you act in ways or say things that are not true to you, to what's in your heart? It's the job. It's nothing personal. It's just business. Or it's not nice to say that. So you end up being fake, or you end up being deceitful and not authentic. That is living in fear. When you think that things outside of yourself are more important, you can get snared by those things. And so out of fear, you do what is not in line with who you are. That is living in fear. I won't get this promotion. I won't get this money. I won't get these things, whatever it is. So I have to say this or do this, even though I don't want to. Have you been in that position? I think we all have been in that position, and we're all guilty of doing that stuff. But that is living in fear. If you're doing anything that is not you, trying to act a role or trying to be a certain persona for certain people, or in order to gain certain things outside of yourself, that is fear. Fear is controlling you. So think about that for a second. And we should fear not. So to do that, you have to know God, because you have to lean on him. You have to trust in him. Do not lean on your own understanding. If you're honest with yourself, have you ever been wrong? We're all wrong at some time. We all have limited understanding, even if we're so-called expert in whatever area we're talking about. But the all-knowing knows all. The all-knowing knows you, and has known you since the beginning. He created you. He loves you. And we know this because you exist. You're watching this video. You're here. He won't just willy-nilly do things. There's a purpose. You have a purpose. And when you're not in line with your purpose, that's when you are not at peace inside. For God is peace. God is truth. God is love. And when you're not in line with that, that's when things go wrong. It's not because you don't have that new car. It's not because you have that new title to show off for others. And that's another thing. If you're not content with yourself, you're going to want to try to impress others. You have no control over what their opinion is of you. So don't get snared by that. Don't get snared thinking that anything outside of yourself defines you. You are a creation of love, infinite love, the source, the Alpha and Omega. You are more than what this world tells you you are. It's not about impressing other people that you don't even know half the time. And it's not about gaining dead things. Money. Does money motivate you? So you do things for money that aren't in line with who you are? Because you're afraid of losing that job. You're afraid of pissing off your boss. So you compromise who you are. That's when the inside, there's conflicts. That's living in fear. And the more you do it, the deeper you dig yourself in that hole. But I have good news. I have great news. For God says, fear not. God is in control of everything. God only allows certain things because there's an expected end that is good. And God is good. If you're shaking your head right now, and if you think I'm nuts, or you think I don't know what I'm talking about, please stick with me here. Please stick with me here. For this world tells you that you are a physical being. You're not physical. You're not temporary. And you're not here to gain a bunch of temporary things. Everything here is temporary on this earth. They're dead. They're dead things. They're not life. The satisfaction they give you is temporary. A car doesn't last forever. Possessions don't last forever. They break down, they rot, they get dusty. They lose that new car smell. I tell you what never degrades is what is eternal. That is you. That is you. That's what you need to focus on. Because when you lose sight of that, when you lose sight of who you are, that's when you live in fear and get snared by all the distractions and deceptions of this world. So I wanted to ask you, do you live in fear? And if you do, you need to involve God in your life. He is the rock. He is the strength because he's in control of everything. If there's not an expected end that is good for you, or part of your purpose that he created you for, then it won't happen. You can think of all the what ifs and the maybes, and that is living in fear. Know that he is the Lord, and know that he is your Father. He loves you, and he's got your back. So again, I challenge you, be honest with yourself. Are you living in fear? Or are you free from fear? It's almost like, of course, the movie Matrix. We broke the code. We know the secret. It's not within these rules, physical rules of this world, because the Lord is above all that. The Lord created that. He does not want you to live in fear. He wants you to fulfill the purpose that you're created for. And how we do that, we don't need to know the destination. We don't need to know the how necessarily, because he will make straight your paths. Just seek the kingdom first, and all things will be granted unto you. And if you haven't experienced God, you may be saying, oh, that's just blind faith. That's just craziness. I hate that term blind faith, by the way, because it's not blind faith. It's through experiencing God, through the relationship with God. It's real. It is real. If you haven't seen my other videos that I've made, I'm trying to show how God uses everything in creation to speak to us. But if we're not listening, like if I'm not paying attention to my neighbor or whatever, I'm not going to hear what he says. You have to desire him. Knock and the door will be open. So please comment below your thoughts, any questions, your comments, because I really want to interact with people, because the Lord has blessed me, and I know through experience, it's not blind. It's not blind faith. But if you haven't experienced it, I can't blame you for not really, well, you can't understand unless you experience it. You can't, unless you experience God, you don't know. Like people, well, like looking at this here, people will ask me, you know, oh, you're a believer. And I respond, no, I'm not a believer. I'm a knower. God has definitely blessed me, but I tell you what, I've had to go through some things, learn my lessons on my journey, which we're all on our own journey. We all have our own relationship with God. But I had to desire him. When you desire him, get ready for the ride. Because it's really about trying to live in the moment, trying to be love every moment, which we won't accomplish, but desiring to be that and trying to be that. It's not easy. That's what you have to focus on, not how you're going to save enough for retirement, not how you're going to do all this other stuff that the world tells you to focus on, because you really don't necessarily know your destination, but the Lord knows the destination. He will make straight your path, so don't get snared by what you think is right or good for you, because when change happens unexpectedly, and that's the way God works, so you know it's him, it ends up turning out better than you could ever planned, because it goes beyond your understanding. And you realize new things. So just be true, be honest, be authentic with yourself, and let your light inside shine for others to see. And you'll see what the Lord does with you. So thank you for watching this video. Stay strong, and God bless.